What's good with y'all? What's going on? We back with another video. This is gonna be episode 6, and today we are talking about the subtle art of not giving up. As you can tell by the title, I'm gonna try to keep this as PG as possible. But this book, it get dark, and as you can tell by the title, it's not really holding anything back. The only thing they splattered out was the U out of the out of the word. This book gets straight to it. I just finished it recently. It's my first book I finished in 2025, and y'all can't really tell because of the green screen, but there are sticky notes all in this, and we are gonna go over all of these. I'm gonna make this as interesting as possible. I started this book, was not able to put it down. I was reading it a lot while I was walking. Whenever I was just chilling at home, 30 minutes a day. It didn't seem like a drag to read. It felt like it was something really interesting. It is a self-help, but it's not your typical self-help, like cookie cutter book. It gets straight into the guts and the raw details of life and what my boy Mark Manson thought of life or thinks of life. Let's get straight into it. The first page reads "Don't try," and when I read that, I said, "Oh, here we go. This is gonna be. He not gonna hold nothing back." He started talking about this dude who was an alcoholic, a womanizer, a gambler. Like, there's a dude named Charles Bukowski going through the whole thing, and he talked about how this dude basically dug himself into a hole and somehow just ended up getting some type of break and ended up being pretty successful afterward. I mean, like 30 years. Basically, he can't get right. Drunk night after drunk night, gambling, prostitutes, X, Y, and Z. And then when he hit 50, he finally had some breakthrough, and it had nothing to do with him trying anything. He was literally a screw up all his life, and he caught a lick, like off of doing nothing. Out of all of that, he still enjoyed his life somehow. Like, he just kept getting up, kept getting drunk, and I think he said he worked at the post office. Some editor found him like in his drunken state. He wrote a book in the next, I think, 3 weeks and became a novelist and a poet, a drunk alcoholic. So then it got into the desire of things and the consumption that a lot of people have nowadays, from whether that's from social media, whether that's who you are around, who you have in your circle, whatever it is. It talked about the consumption for, or really the overconsumption of just everything nowadays. The quote says, "The desire for more positive experience is itself a negative experience. And paradoxically, the acceptance of one's negative experience is itself a positive experience." Like I said, I'm going to keep this as PG as possible. You know, no pun intended, but basically that quote he said afterwards is just basically, it's just going to screw with your mind. He broke it down again saying wanting positive experience is a negative experience. Accepting negative experience is a positive experience. I really took from that like the acknowledgement that everything is not going to always go right. Everything is not always going to be positive. Once you kind of get that out of your thought process and kind of take things for what they are, somehow find some gem or something that you can take out of every experience, regardless if it's good or bad or whatever you think it is. As long as you can take that from a good or bad experience, then you won. It's really, once you push past that and pick up the little things along the way, then you'll turn out to be a lot more successful than what you think if you so focused on everything has to be positive. Because in reality, it's not going to be positive. Everything is not going to always go your way. You're not going to always get what you want. And the quicker you learn that that's not going to happen, and you accept the fact that that's not going to happen, the better off you're going to be. Another quote that they had in this book says, "You will never be happy if you continue to search for what happiness consists of. You will never live if you're looking for the meaning of life." We always search for what's next. You could set so many goals for yourself, keep knocking all these things off your list, and if you never really look at what you've accomplished in that time and kind of smell your own flowers in a sense, and I don't mean too far as in you don't keep going, because a lot of people may say, "Oh, I completed one thing off the list. It may be minor, and now I'm kind of soaking that for a long time." Now, if you soak in it, that's when you kind of keep going backwards in a sense, because you did all this to get up here, and then you soaked in it, and now you dropped yourself back down, and now you got to repeat your cycle. Now, if you get there, hold on to what you learned in that moment, and then keep going, that's when you learn something in that moment, and that's what you can build off of. I saw a J. Cole video from, I think it's from the Breakfast Club a long time ago. saying like, or your first goal may be 10,000. You get 10,000, now you get 20. You get 20, now you got to get 100. You get 100, now you got to get half a million. Now you get a million, you just keep going and going, and it never stops. Another example, women. Growing up, it was literally the cool thing was to have as many women as possible. Once you get to a certain point, that desire kind of goes away because it's like, all right, yeah, you done had whoever and anybody at this point. What's another person? Another person don't seem as special to you if you've always had two or three or four or five or however many at once. And then being in a relationship, like it's two different things, because if you intentionally dating nowadays, you're gonna be with one person, and that one person is gonna have to be your person in the grand scheme. You ain't gonna be able to go, back and forth, because then you ain't gonna be in a relationship no more. Overconsumption, I think, is the main goal of not trying to get that next thing, that next bump or hit that you need to kind of attract or attach yourself to. The next part, which I think is the main part of the book, again, I'm trying to keep this as GPG rated as possible, but basically saying not caring does not mean being indifferent. People try so hard to not care. It's like, oh yeah, I don't care about this and da, da, da. That's not the goal. You don't get cool points for that. You might have got cool points for that 15 years ago, 10 years ago, whenever you was a kid or whatever, but now you grown. Care about something. You got to care about something, because if you don't care about something, then your life is kind of meaningless. You don't have nothing that you gravitate towards. You don't really care about anything. You really got a real trash attitude. A real terrible attitude, and that's somebody that nobody cares to be around, or you probably don't even want to be around yourself, to be honest with you, because you don't find joy in anything. You always complaining about everything, and you trying so hard to be so different. The goal is to be comfortable with being who you are, with what you like. And if that's being different than the population, that's fine. But also, you don't have to force anybody to be like you. The people that are like you will gravitate towards you because, again, you are you. You don't have to try, and you don't have to act a certain way because other people like it. If that's not you, then that's not you, bro. If you like anime, nothing wrong with liking anime. Everybody don't like anime. That's fine, bro. Again, we talk about the girls situation. Everybody not meant to be a player. You feel me? So everybody not meant to be in a relationship. It's whatever you enjoy, whatever you can intake, and whatever you can handle. That's what you made to have. Being in a relationship, I've learned that for me, I enjoy just one. It's a lot less work that you gotta do. In previous years, man, it's like the glorification of having different involvements with different people and different relationships, and bro, it is tiring having to duck and dodge and go back and forth and spend X amount of dollars, X amount of time with different people. It's out. It's out for me. I'm 27, bro. It's not enjoyable anymore. It was back then. I ain't gonna lie. I had fun. I stayed focused because ultimately, at the end of the day, if you let your vices take a hold of you and let that get into a routine so much, it'll ultimately lead you into that being your lifestyle for the rest of your life, and then you'll never be able to really focus or anything, be able to get right with anything else after that. I've seen both sides of it, and now that I'm a little bit older and a little bit more mature, read some books and live the lifestyle of what I read, it's definitely brought my mind back around to the more positive things of commitment, caring about things that you like, staying true to who you are, and just getting locked in with yourself. Once you realize what you like and what you need to be happy, you don't need everything. You just need what you like, and that's enough for you. The next part of it is talking about how people deny and blame others for whatever. It could be the victim role. It could be the entitlement role. And I mentioned this a couple days ago when I was doing my Wisdom Wednesday video. And just talking about the victim mentality or entitlement mentality is just very old, very tiring. Like, being around those people are so draining because it's literally the highs are highs and the lows are so low that they are just a roller coaster of emotions. Their personality is a roller coaster. Their lifestyle is a roller coaster. And nobody wants to be around those people. I know I don't. I get sick of those people. And I don't even associate with myself with those people anymore. I definitely know some people from like high school, college, whatever, that were just that roller coaster. And I had to realize after a while, once I realized that the roller coasters weren't for me and I was able to feed out and weed out the people who were, my life became a lot more simple because, again, I'm not trying to fit in with those people. Those people can have who they are attracted to. That's not who I am. Friendship, relationship-wise, whatever. Those people aren't people that I spend my time with. The next important part, it talks about choosing your struggle. Life is hard, man, and it's not a cookie cutter lifestyle for nobody. Whatever movies you've seen, them people went through it, man. Regardless of how they ended up or how they got to where they are, everybody had some struggle in whatever they was doing in the beginning. If you had this get rich quick scheme of wherever you made it to where you are, trust me, it's not gonna last forever. The basketball is not gonna bounce forever. Whatever you got on and whatever I don't even know how to explain it. But again, get rich quick schemes do not last forever. It's going to have to be some type of struggle that you have to go through and you have to get through to have any type of profit or any type of return on whatever you putting in. It's not an easy road. This podcasting, I'm taking this on as something that I'm trying this year, more solo podcasting, because I didn't grow up in, camera, social media, X, Y, and Z. I like being on social media, but I've never really had my face on social media to the extent of me talking or me putting out YouTube videos or anything like that. And I'm challenging myself this year to become more personable with that so that I'm able to grow this channel and ultimately get some type of benefit of self-confidence through it. And then also to inspire some other people, if somebody else want to do something and I'm able to inspire that by them watching this, that's a plus for me. Another example is the gym. Gym requires struggle. There's no way you going to get the body that you see on Instagram or on Twitter unless you go get your body done. If you're trying to do it the natural way, it's literally going to require you to lose who you are. The person that you looking at on Instagram is not the same person they was before they got fit. They literally had to remove the person who they were, the person who sat on their phone all day scrolling, sat on the couch all day watching Netflix, Amazon, or Hulu, whatever videos or whatever platforms you got. They got to get in the field, man. Like, it really take work. And that, again, that's regardless of what you go into. If it's something that you look forward to, just know it's going to come with it's going to require some work. It's going to have to happen. And there's no way to cheat the system. Again, you can get rich quick scheme all you want, but at the end of the day, you're going to have to put in some work. And a good quote to wrap up this point right here, it says, "Who you are is defined by what you're willing to struggle for. People who enjoy the struggles of a gym are the ones who run triathlons and have chiseled abs and can bench press a small house. People who enjoy long work weeks and the politics of the corporate ladder are the ones who fly to the top of it. People who enjoy the stresses of uncertainties and the starving artist lifestyle are ultimately the ones who live and make it." That is what you literally have to be a different person. Whatever you're trying to do, again, with this content, I'm going to have to learn through practice. That's something me and my homies was just talking about this today, and that's was something that I told myself about this year, that that's gonna be all practice. There's no wrong or right way to do things as long as you're trying. You trying at something that you want to do. It's gonna come with some ups and downs, bumps and bruises. Get through them. Your repetition, your reps. Again, being in the gym. I was in the field. I was in the gym like early mornings, late nights, endless times being in the gym. And it could be all for one shot. All those hours could be for one shot that I needed to hit. That shot worked out for me because I ended up getting a college scholarship out of that. On to the next point. It says, you are not special. Again, these titles, they're not really holding back a lot of, holding back a lot of anything. Even LeBron got to put in work. LeBron spent a lot of time on his body. He's been doing this for I don't know how many years. Since he was born, basically. Whatever cards you get dealt, which we're going to talk about later, but whatever cards you get dealt is what you get dealt. And what you do with that is on you. You're not special. You don't get a break just because of who you are. That's that form of entitlement. You don't get the nod just because of who you are, who your name is. You got to put in the work. Again, that's spinning back to the whole thing. The work. This next part is talking about rock star problems. And the specific example is 3 different people that are in rock star bands. They both ended up 3 different ways, whatever. Moral of the story, one person was in a very popular band. The band basically got jealous of who that person was, how much attention that one person was getting. Kicked them out the band. That person basically started his own band in spite of the band that he got kicked out of. He ended up being successful in that band. But at the end of the day, he still related back to not making it with them versus seeing what he had built from scratch after he basically got kicked out. The next person, he basically got kicked out and he said scrap all the band, all the music, everything. I live my lifestyle and now I'm going to be a father figure. I'm going to be a husband. Like, he just locked in on what he enjoyed at that point. He was like, I'm not trying to, build another thing. I had my lifestyle. I enjoyed what it was. And that was a season in my life. And now I'm on to the next one. Cool. I'm wash my hands with it. I'm good. I don't have nothing towards them. I'm actually happy that they got me up out of there because I was able to enjoy what I really enjoyed, and that's being a father, being a husband and a brother and a son to his family. Like, he focused on more important things. And the third person, they got kicked out of another band and they literally went into depression. Like, that was their life. They didn't have anything that they could click and switch over to afterwards. They weren't able to get back up and move on to the next thing. They were stuck in that, I got kicked out. And then now what I'm going to do? Like, real Eeyore type. The main point of this whole chapter was talking about the way that you see your problems and what you can do to kind of change your mindset to get out of the depression phase. The quote says, if you want to change how you see your problems, you have to change what you value and or how you measure failure/success. Don't let nobody else tell you that you're a failure, you're a success, whatever. You gauge that off of how you feel. Whatever you get medals, plaques, and all this other stuff, them people will be miserable. Based off of other people's validation, you think that person is happy or whatever just because they got a bunch of things. And deep down, them people be going through it. Like, they so caught up into what other people say they are, they don't even believe or have the faith that they are that person. So just because other people think you're a success or you're a failure, other people would think you're a failure, and then you think you're a genius. Hey, man, whatever float your boat. If that's what you think is successful, that's up to you. You gauge that. You make that decision. The people who rock with you gonna rock with you. They gonna see it. Everybody not gonna always cheer for you. That's my main point. Everybody not gonna always want to see what you see, or they might not be able to see what you see. But if you like it, do your thing, man. The next part is talking about a lot of values that people have nowadays. and they are very poor values. The first one they talked about is pleasure. Pleasure is definitely a gateway drug. You could be, seduced by anything, not necessarily saying sexually or whatever, but you can be reeled in by anything that gives you pleasure, whether that's being with another person, or maybe that's drinking or smoking or doing anything like clubbing, anything. Pleasure is a very false narrative of like satisfaction. It's really only temporary. And the next thing they talk about is material success. And this, if I couldn't nail this on the head anymore, material success has taken over the world, and I think it's been doing that for a long time. People base how well you're doing based off what you got, and I think that's so backwards to me, because I think the most people who flaunt how much they got or how much they do or whatever, I think those are some of the worst people. I ain't gonna lie. Anytime I see somebody out and they got designer down, drip down, I'm like, oh yeah, you're probably not a good person, or this is everything that you got because you're trying to show the other people that you got something, when in reality that's your success, quote unquote. You able to penny pinch and check the check for a $400 t-shirt. It just don't make sense to me. The next thing is talk about always being right. I have battled with this for a long time. There have been plenty of people who told me, oh, you feel like you always got to be right. I'm like, yes and no. Yes, because I have things that back up whatever I'm talking about. I used to, just say, yeah, whatever I said is right. And that's kind of it. Not having no facts to back it up or whatever. And once I started reading books and start really like watching documentaries and really learning about things and having facts to back up what I'm talking about, I'm like, no, I'm not just one to be right. I want to get to the facts of whatever we talking about. Don't give me whatever you think. Tell me what it is. Tell me the truth, the facts. Look it up. Go read that. Go research that. Where you find what you talking about. I got my ways of looking up things, through reading or through research or documentaries, like I mentioned. That's proven. It's not based off a feeling that you got based off social media or off Twitter. No, that opinion is not your opinion. Think about that and really look into what you're talking about. Don't just take somebody else's opinion or word for it. Look for yourself and come up with your own opinion of what you think that you're talking about. You can't always be right. The next part of that is, over the years, I've been okay with not being always right. That's the thing. It's like, all right, if I got facts to prove what I'm talking about, cool, I'm going to stand on that. But if I'm wrong, hey, man, I'm wrong. And I'm okay with being wrong because, again, through reading books and everything, I've realized if you're not in the space to where you can be wrong and somebody can teach you where you went wrong, or you can't teach somebody else where they went wrong and able to, not beef about it and it could be a conversation, then you're in the right space. If somebody looking down on you for being wrong or acknowledging that you're wrong and you don't feel comfortable in that space to say that you're wrong, you're in the wrong environment. You need to get away from them people, because nowadays, bro, if you're around me and we can't learn from each other, I don't know everything and you don't know everything. Nobody knows everything. Somebody in this world has to teach somebody something else. It's common knowledge that you don't know everything. It's impossible to know everything. So when it comes to something, a topic that you're not the best at and somebody else is good at it, and you can bridge that gap, then they'll be able to help you, or vice versa, on another topic, and y'all can spitball, paintball, however you want to talk about it, off of each other, and it'll be back and forth, and you'll be able to come together and both make each other better. And once you start surrounding yourself with people like that, the environment just grows and grows, and y'all all become better from each other. So nail down some good metrics for yourself, some good values that you have within yourself. Again, this is all self. Like, don't let all these other people be in your ear, social media be in your ear, have your own perception of yourself and what you want, and also how to get what you want, and what success looks like for you. And again, not in no negative way. I don't want y'all to be out here going crazy, you know what I mean? But positive things that you like and aspire for yourself, learn how to obtain those things. And it's learned through books, it's learned through documentaries, it's learned through talking to people, like conversations with people. You learn a lot versus just, typing all day and tweeting all day and whatever. You learn a lot from really conversating and brainstorming through things. And like I said, not always being right all the time. You learn so much more from accepting the fact that you can't be always right and you gonna be wrong sometimes. You learn so much more from those people that you can learn from in that situation versus you being strong-headed and saying, oh no, this is right because I saw this on whatever on Twitter, and the whole time you just wrong because you looked at some fake you looked at NBA Centel versus versus NBA Central. If you know, but that's just an example of, bro, you just can't always be right, and it's okay not to be always right. Control your controllables. I think this is a cliche thing to think about or whatever. The quote says we don't always control what happens to us, but we always control how we interpret what happens to us, as well as how we respond. You can't fix everything, man. Everything can't always go your way, and it's not gonna go your way. But the quicker you learn, like we was mentioning earlier, the quicker you learn that everything won't go your way, and when things don't, that's just what it is, man. You just gotta live through that and learn from that in the moment. Real life example. 2 years ago, my car got broken into. This happened on a Monday morning. I was leaving my house at 6 a.m. I had to go to work that day. Instead of me, shedding tears and whatever going on and going back in my room and being down in the dumps, I called my job, told them my car got broken into. I'm finna come to work. I'm finna get an Uber, like I'm calling the insurance or whatever, but at this point, I'm finna fix this up right now. Calling an Uber, head to work. I'm gonna be late though. That's just what it is. But I'm rolling with the punches. Get to work. Didn't really think about it for real. I was like, all right, well, how can I fix the situation now? I can't do nothing about it. It ain't no point of me being mad about something I can't control. Like I said, it's not like I was there. I could have been there. I could have got hurt, and I didn't. So that's more of what I'm grateful about. I wasn't there. My car is still there. Like it's literally just something that I gotta fix, and whatever I need to do in that moment. Now, luckily, I have the finances to be able to still live a normal life. But again, it's always about who you surround yourself with. If you don't have positive people in your ear, some other people would have been like, oh yeah, you need to go get back and do all this, bro. It's just not even worth all that. Cause what am I gonna do? Nothing. What is it gonna solve? Nothing. Me trying to get back for that is gonna lead me into a whole spin of unnecessary energy that I could be used somewhere else. And that day I went to a Larry June concert after work.
Good job.
I was like, yeah, whatever. Get an Uber home, get an Uber to work. I'm still gonna live my life, bro. That was planned, and I'm not gonna let one situation ruin my entire day. It's just not gonna happen. I roll with the punches. We'll figure it out tomorrow. I had all weekend. I was off, from work. I had time to game plan. Get a rental car, X, Y, and Z. Keep the ball moving. I can't do nothing about it, man. I control what I can control, and I move on to the next thing. This leads right into the next quote. Many people may be to blame for your unhappiness, but nobody is ever responsible for your unhappiness but you. This is because you always get to choose how you see things, how you react to things, and how you value things. You always get to choose the metric by which to measure your experiences. I could have took that time of my car getting broken into as a negative experience. Of course, yeah, my car got broken into, whatever, but again, I'm looking at the positives of the situation. I'm not in the car. I didn't get kidnapped. God forbid. I didn't get kidnapped. I didn't get robbed. I didn't get shook down. I didn't get nothing. My car is still there. They didn't take nothing out of my car. There's a lot of more positives to think about versus the opposite side of how it really could have went. Because fast forward to when I was able to actually look at the security tapes of the garage, like, that's another, man, whatever. I ain't even gonna get into that. But I was able to look at the security footage, and I looked, they literally tried to take my entire car, and it didn't work. And I'm grateful that it didn't work. I'm more so looking at the positive of that. Like, that could have went far left, and it didn't. So I'm okay with the result. I'm not happy with the result, but the way I'm looking at the result is not in a, oh, they broke into my car, angry, whatever. Bro, it could have took my life. I don't want to be dramatic, but that's real talk. Like, that's how I look at the situation. The next part of that is talking about where to have your energy, where to put a lot of your energy in. You can't put a lot of your energy into a lot of things that's just gonna waste your time. Like I said, going back and forth with whoever broke into my car or whatever, what is that gonna solve? It's gonna solve nothing, because ultimately the police probably not gonna do nothing about it. They're not gonna catch the person. Even if I went to the security cameras and sent it to the police, what they gonna do? Nothing. So why am I spending my energy on that? Spend my energy moving forward. How we gonna figure out what we need to do? How we gonna get transportation? How you gonna get to work? That's what you need to focus on. And that's what I told myself in that moment. This is before I even read this book. But I was just in a mode of grinding, like really starting off everything here. I never talked about it, whatever. And I was locked in. It really just rolled off my shoulder, and everybody was looking at me like, you all right? I'm like, yeah, what? what you want me to be? Like, crash out about this? Like, it's not gonna benefit me. It's not gonna do anything for me. If I don't go to work, I'm missing bread. I'm missing bread. That means I'm working on my rent. I'm working on groceries. Like, I need food on my table. I need to get it. I need to get paid. So me missing work and being so emotional about it, I know things happen, but hey, man, roll with the punches. If I needed to take that day, I would have taken it, but I didn't need it. I was locked in, so I moved on to the next thing, man. The next topic, it literally is labeled, I'm going to put this on the screen too. It's literally labeled kill yourself. No exaggeration, man. It's basically talking about the idea of who you are. You literally have to dead that person. He can't exist no more. She can't exist no more. If you're really trying to elevate and get to another level, you can't be that same person that you was 5, 10, 15 years ago. Maybe even the same person you was yesterday. You can't keep being that person, because it's not going to benefit you anymore. That's not where you are. That's not the season in your life anymore. That's not where you spending your energy at. The person that needs to be fit, you can't be the same person you was yesterday sitting on the couch. The person that wants to read, you can't be the same person scrolling on your phone all day anymore. You literally can't be that person, because if you are, you're going to be right where you are. You're not going to be in a better position. The next thing is talking about is what if you're wrong? I have battled with this question for a long time, and I think over time, again, through everything I've been reading and practicing it in real life, it's okay to be wrong. There's not a right or wrong answer to anything in this world. Like, you can say, oh, you'll be better off with this, but if you've never had this, you don't know if you're going to be happy or not. And if you're chasing the money, if you're leading with money, more than likely you're going to be wrong, because it's going to feel good. That's one of those like material success things. If you feel like, okay, I got to have this money, I got to have that money, or I got to do this, and because it's going to get me this, I'm telling you, if you're not doing it because you want to do it first and then the money comes with it, you're not going to be successful, or you're not going to be happy with that. Let me not say successful. You might be successful, but are you successful, and are you actually enjoying what you're doing, or are you just doing it because of the bread? This is a do something principle that they have in here, and it's called do something, the do something principle, but it's also called like failing forward. to do something like the smallest action. For example, with me starting this channel, the smallest action for me was getting on Instagram Live. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know where to start, but I started. I did something, and now look at that. Almost year and a half, 2 years later, I'm way ahead of where I started. I started it on my phone. Like I didn't have a computer at the point, but now I got a computer. I got a camera, which my mom lent me. I didn't have to pay for the camera. Another blessing. But I asked her if she wasn't using the camera, let me get that. Let me use that. It's not the highest quality camera, whatever. It's not the most expensive camera, but the camera works. I invested in a webcam. I invested into a computer. Like all those things, it took time, and gradually I'm taking advantage of the opportunities that I have with what equipment that I have until I'm able to get the most whatever expensive equipment or essential equipment for everything. I'm gonna do what I can do with what I got. That's just by doing something and getting started. It's not gonna be the finished product. I'm gonna say this every single time. It's not gonna be the finished product, and I'm okay with that. I'm more so seeing the things that I can learn along the way. Whether if I like this at the end of the day or not, along the way I'm learning so many things that I can attach to different parts of my life. Being consistent with content creation and just documenting my life and my journey is something that I'll be able to look back 20, 30 years from now, and I can look back in the past and say, oh yeah, I was doing this. And I can show my kids, I can show my family, I can show my friends, whoever, like I did that, and I consistently did that over a certain amount of time. It's something that I accomplished, and I accomplished it by doing something and getting started. Boundaries, I think, are very essential to anybody who trying to accomplish anything in their life. I personally did not set a lot of boundaries growing up because I was kind of the outcast. Not in a bad way, or I don't even know how I was. Still to this day, but whatever. I was around. I went to a public school in high school, right? I didn't stay in the neighborhood that I went to the school at. So the people that I was kind of unrelatable to a lot of other people that I went to school with. But I didn't look at that as like, these people don't like me. I was more so trying to, fit in where I could. I was at a new school, like, it was just a lot of different things that I had to kind of get through mentally. In a moment, I wasn't really thinking about it. I was just like, oh, yeah, let me just hang out with whoever and kind of back and forth. And once I realized that I didn't set a lot of boundaries, and people kind of thought I was sweet, you know what I mean? Like green, however you want to say it. Like people just thought that they could take advantage of me in the sense of not setting boundaries, which where it all started. Not setting boundaries distracted me from doing a lot of things that I was supposed to be doing, like playing basketball. When I first got to high school, it is literally like a rush. I knew a lot of the older people, and then I also kind of knew the people that I went to school, or that was in my same grade. But I was in a new school district. Like, only reason I knew these people was because of sports, or my dad knew these people's parents, or they worked at the school, or anything like that. It was so many different things going on, and as a freshman in high school, I was literally in everybody's, like I said, I knew seniors. I was going out to eat with seniors as a freshman. I'm supposed to be going out. I grew up around a lot of older people, and I think that's why I'm also now I got a lot of old head tendencies, and I think it's definitely from being around a lot of older people growing up, and that just being the norm. So then sophomore year, it kind of died down a little bit. But junior year, I realized, like, all right, now it's time to lock in. I kind of been playing around a little bit too much, and now I need to really lock in. So time to set these boundaries, time to get to what I really need to get to, and that was the summer going into senior year, where it wasn't really a lot of extra time being dished out to everybody else. I was focused on what I was doing, and if that meant being in the gym till 1 o'clock in the morning, that meant being in the gym till 1 o'clock in the morning. In the summertime, I'm not out partying. I'm not out kicking it, That boundary was set. I already wasn't going to parties or whatever when I was a kid, but having that boundary set of me, I know I got to go to the gym to get to where I want to be. I know I got to be in the gym to get a scholarship. I know I got to be in the gym to become a starter on my basketball team. All that stuff played a part, and if I didn't set that boundary and continue to live how I was living, I wouldn't have been able to be as successful as I ended up being. So to be successful in anything that you're trying to do, you have to set some boundaries. You have to be around other people as well that have boundaries, for one, for themselves, but two, they respect your boundaries. And that will also hopefully have you respect their boundaries as well. And it's a mutual thing. Y'all pushing each other towards each other's goals, and y'all got boundaries set in place to where y'all know y'all on the same type of time. And you can also hold that person accountable for the boundaries that you set. The other day, we was just talking about this in our group chat too. One of my homies said that he was seeing like a bunch of people on Facebook or whatever talking about some stuff that he didn't enjoy seeing no more. He used to, kind of be whatever, scrolling through Facebook and conversating with a lot of people that we might have went to high school with or whatever. But now, as he's kind of acknowledged that that's not something that he digests anymore, now it's a boundary that he set. This is not something that I entertain anymore. This is not something that I spend my time with. And now it's really kind of irritating that I even see this stuff. And I think that's such a breakthrough that you have to have. Stuff has to literally get on your nerves, and it has to be drastic to where you don't even like seeing this stuff no more. Unfollowing spree on social media, I do that whenever I feel like it. I've had like Instagram, Twitter for so long. It's so many people I've followed over the years or whatever, and you don't even realize that they feeding so much of this stuff into your brain that you don't even see it as something that you like to see. It's more so on there and you just see it. It's so different when you basically give your mind a diet. Like you cut out all the extra garbage and unnecessary information that you see and just mess. It gives your brain so much of a clear head space. It's something I'm so glad I was able to adapt at an early age and then carry it on to now. Like I'll be on social media or whatever, but it's not like I'm on there and I'm just reading a bunch of Shade Room and TMZ and all this other stuff. That's not where I spend my time, because that's not what I enjoy, and that's not something that I find beneficial for my life if it don't have nothing to pertain to anything that I'm doing right now. And with that, the people you surround yourself with, again, this goes back to your circle and your environment. If the people that you surround yourself with don't understand what you're saying and kind of acknowledge that, yeah, maybe that's not the healthiest thing to be doing all day, then it's either gonna build the trust between y'all because y'all on the same page and you understand each other, and those boundaries, again, once you build those boundaries, y'all build a trust together, because okay, I know this person on the same thing I'm on. I can trust that this person would want the best for me or whatever. And trust is the most important thing in a relationship to me. Without trust, I don't think relationships or anything kind of mean anything. Like they just there. It's just literally there for you to kind of have or whatever, and it's just something that you spend your time doing. But without trust, that relationship is not really built on a lot of anything, because that's like the moral of your ethics and how you act around that person, even if they're not in the room, how you act around other people pertaining to who you are with somebody else. Like if that's not the same person you are with different friend groups or different whatever, then your trust is not built with that person. And then the last part is talking about commitment. Commitment, I think, is something that I think a lot of people overlook, because if you do something and you practice and you bump your head and you go through the ups and downs of whatever you're trying to get through, sooner or later that commitment is going to pay off. whether it's the way you imagined it or not, you're going to see some benefits if you really being self-aware through the whole process of whatever you're trying to do. And through those, if you then take the time to, okay, look at everything that you accomplished in that time, you'll learn so many different things. This is such a morbid type book, but it literally says, and then you die. Word for word. That's what the book says. And then you die. That's the last chapter of the book. And the faster you accept the real life, everybody's not going to be here forever. You do what you can with what you have. The cards that you are dealt. You play the cards that you dealt until you the person that can deal the cards. You do what you can with what you got until you're able to, reach that next level. And then you get a little bit more freedom of what you can do. Example, this channel, I had to do what I could do on my phone until I was able to upgrade to get a PC. I got a PC. Now I got a camera. Now I got a webcam. Now I got another computer. Another monitor. You just keep sticking through it, through consistency, through time put in, and over time you just learn so many things, and you add up everything that you learned along the journey, and you keep taking those things along the way. And the last thing I'm gonna leave y'all with is on your headstone, when you pass away, you got one date, a dash, and then another date. These two dates and this dash in the middle, the dash in the middle is everything that you accomplished throughout your life. The day you was born, the day you're not here no more, those two dates you can't control. What you can control is that dash in between. What you do with your life, what you spend your time on, who you spend your time with. All that stuff is so important. And enjoy, man. Enjoy what you get to go through, good or bad. See whatever lesson that you can learn or gem that you can grab out of any situation in life. And I'm going to catch y'all in the next one, man. I enjoyed this. We're going to definitely do some more of these. So it's been your boy Wood Lee. Follow me on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, whatever. I don't got Snapchat, but follow me on social media, man. PG State of Mind. We got some things coming up, man. I'm excited about to try and step out and do a little something different in 2025. So I'm gonna catch y'all in the next one, man. I'm out. Peace. And paradoxically, you ever had that time where you reading a book and you get to a word and it's just like you pronounce it out as and it's in your mind, you know what it means, but to say it out loud, the English language is just a blur sometimes.